Hey y'all, it's Ali from Little Hill Homestead. So, cold and flu season is coming up. Other illnesses start to show up in the fall and winter, and your kids bring stuff home from school. And I meant to start this a couple weeks ago, and I just didn't get to it. So, today I'm going to show you guys how we make our fire cider. Fire cider is basically the most potent stuff you can get a hold of. This stuff was originally made by Rosemary Gladstar. She is an herbalist, and she really wanted to get medicinal herbalism back into people's homes. And so in the 70s, she came up with this concoction. You can still find her base recipe, and then you can find everybody under the sun has added different stuff to it over the years and kind of changed it depending on, what's kind of the cool new superfood or the, whatever is kind of cool that year. You know what I mean? So this is our base recipe. If you have one or something different in yours, let me know below because, we've done a couple variations. We did one with cranberries one year. That was delicious and it made this beautiful color. But this one, I wasn't able to find cranberries this year, so that got left out. But what does this do? Oh, well, I'll talk about that as I'm putting stuff into the container. But in our household, we do some commercial medications. You kind of don't have a choice. I'm lucky enough not to have to take anything on the daily, but it doesn't mean that I don't have health issues because I do. This we like taking. You can take it as a daily immune shot. You take like 1 tablespoon of it every day, bottoms up, because this stuff is potent, spicy, strong. Or you can start incorporating it into your recipes, marinades, salad dressings. Think things that you would use apple cider vinegar in. So this, what it does is it is an immune support if you use it daily. It's also full of antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, helps with sore throats. The horseradish that is in it breaks up congestion. The peppers that are in it help clear out sinuses and stuff. It helps with nausea. I mean, it has all kinds of benefits. We do add black pepper to ours because it helps you absorb the nutrients a little bit better. There's barely any in it, but it helps you absorb it. And so this is our version. I know there's a bunch. You ready? So I have a 1-gallon jar that we actually had our apple scrap vinegar going in. Let me grab this for you guys because I know that anybody who's been following us knows that we made apple scrap vinegar. A lot of you guys were asking if I could show you the SCOBY that formed in it. So let me grab it so I can show you. So I just moved this to jars. It was sitting on top, but do you guys see that funky thing floating around kind of in the bottom? It looks like a piece of tissue paper or something. That's our SCOBY forming. It will start just sitting on the top as like a little slimy layer, and then it forms this cool, you can see it, right? That's our SCOBY. There you go. You see it. Okay. Anyways, so I'm going to use a little bit of our apple scrap vinegar in this recipe, even though it's not quite ready. That is, by the way, on day 10. So it's not done yet, but we're going to use a little bit in it anyways. And then I'm going to throw some Braggs in because that's what I've got. So I have everything pre-cut to make this video shorter, which I am not going to make it shorter because I just talked your ear off. But here we go. You guys ready? I have 1 onion. I used a white onion. I just peeled it and cut it into little pieces. Just throw that at the bottom. Some of these ingredients were a little harder to find. What I like about doing it in August and September is that most grocery stores kind of have caught on that people are making this more and more often. And so they tend to have some of the ingredients in store. The next thing you're going to need is horseradish root. Y'all, mine only had the biggest horseradish root I've ever seen in my life. So this is all extra. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I'll probably end up freezing it and making my husband does not like horseradish. So great. Let's have an extra 1.5 pounds of horseradish laying around, right? All I did was cut it into rings and then I cut that into squares. So that goes in next. Oh, it's 8 ounces, by the way, of horseradish root. This is going to help break up any kind of gunk that you get stuck in your chest. I just wash it off. I do not peel it. The next thing we've got is garlic. We had wussy, sad little garlic cloves this year. I don't know why, what happened. So normally it's 8 to 10. I'm putting like 12 because they were just little. So 8 to 10 garlic cloves. If you get nice big garlic cloves, you can do like 5 or 6. You know what I mean. The next thing you need is 2 ounces of turmeric. You guys are used to turmeric. When you cut it, it looks like carrots, doesn't it? It's got a very earthy flavor, but it's great for anti-inflammatory. So turmeric is awesome to throw in here. Jalapenos, you have a couple options here actually. You can use 1 cayenne pepper if you're growing cayenne in your garden, which we have and you should. It's so easy to grow. It produces a ton. We dry it on a string and then cut it up. We didn't grow any this year though. We didn't need to. Also, our garden took a poop, but we've gone on about that. Jalapenos are spicy. The capsaicins in them are going to do stuff in here, and it adds a special heat. So I have 2 jalapenos going in, seeds and everything, just cut into rings. I'm going to try not to touch it too much, but it's probably too late. I do love jalapeno, but I do not like putting my contacts in after my hands have gotten jalapeno all over them. You, by the way, can do this in a much smaller quantity if you would like. I just do a big old jar because I want plenty of room. You need, after that, I just feel like there's a lot of ingredients in this, but it is really beneficial for people that get ill. There you go. Ginger. I love ginger. Who doesn't love ginger? Actually, not everybody does, but this is 8 ounces of ginger. By the way, we got some of our ingredients at Aldi because ginger there was $1.99 for all 8 ounces. That to me was pretty reasonable. The most expensive thing was a horseradish, and it wouldn't have been that bad if I didn't have to buy a hunk the size of Texas. It's massive. It's okay. It's fine, right? So after that, we are going to do 1 orange. All I did was slice it up. If you did not buy organic, make sure you take the peel off. If you buy organic, you can just go. This is actually a homegrown lemon from my father-in-law. He has the most amazing Meyer lemon tree. And when we were in California, I brought some back and I've been rationing them. And so I'm super excited to put it in here. Last thing, let me rinse my hands off real quick because I'm going to be touching stuff. I just have jalapeno on them. The next thing you need is a pinch. I say a pinch of peppercorns. It's like not even a teaspoon, you guys. Just enough to kind of drop a few in there. That was maybe 15 or 20 little whole peppercorns. The peppercorns help you absorb the nutrients from this into your system. I don't know why. It's one of those weird things. Okay. This is an optional thing. We do it because we grow herbs. So I just have a handful of herbs. I have rosemary, sage, oregano, and I had some thyme in here somewhere, but it's in there. So I just did a big handful. I went out to the garden just a second ago and gave those. I just watered this morning. Actually, it's been raining all day. So they're clean. We're just popping them in there. They're nice and dry. Okay, so that is, let me move it up here so you can see. That's our main base. If you do cranberries, they do float, just so you know. What we're going to do now is fill this with apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has so many benefits, but it has to be the raw version. So you can get something like Bragg's, which I know there's some controversy behind Bragg's right now, but you do you, right? This is our apple scrap vinegar that we just made. I had a little bit in the cabinet. So some of it is from last year. The rest of it is this year's batch. So that was 4 cups. This is probably another like 3. I'm doing a big jug. You don't have to do this much, you guys. Okay, I'm out of vinegar at this point. I'm gonna use my hand to just push it down a little bit, make sure everything's all in there. I'm gonna get a little water to top it off. I know that is not couth, but I'm making a boatload of this. So I'm gonna sink my herbs down in there a little bit to get them sunk. So everything is now, yeah, we'll be okay. I'm gonna do the tiniest bit of water to the top. I'm gonna just use distilled water from my Berkey to top it off a tiny bit. I'm using the sink water to wash my hands, so don't think I'm cheating on my Berkey. I'm not. Okay, just a little vinegar, a little bit of water just to top it off to make sure everything is submerged. So if you have a weight, you can use a weight. If you do not, I don't own a weight. I never have. I do fermentation all the time. I've never owned one of those little glass weights or anything, bag of marbles, none of that to hold it down. What I do to hold everything down is I fill a Ziploc bag with some water, and then I push it in on the top, and it makes it so that nothing can float above and get air on it. You need this to stay under the air to do its thing. I meant to tell you, so you can do cayenne pepper. If you don't have a cayenne, you can do one habanero too. Did you know that you can freeze habaneros? We have a giant bag of habaneros in our freezer from 2 years ago. And when we need habanero, we just pull them out of the freezer and we use them in our recipes. It does change texture slightly, same as bell peppers, but I like to only grow habanero every couple of years and do that. I know it's probably like a year max, but I'm still using them at 2 and they're just fine. So there you go. I'm going to get my bag of water. While I get the bag of water, though, I'll tell you why we kind of do things a little more natural in our house instead of using more commercial products. So I'll walk. You won't see me, but I'll keep talking. Okay? Does that work? Works? So in our household, grab a Ziploc. A couple of years ago, not a couple of years ago, in 2019, I said I was going to talk, and now I'm not talking. I can't multitask, y'all. Okay, let me come back over here. I feel like if you can't see me, what in the heck? In 2019, I started having what felt like a lump in my throat all the time. Like all the time, just right here, just sits there. And it was making it so it was very hard for me to eat or drink some days. Woo! Okay, see how it did that, by the way? We put it in there. It raised our level up a little bit, but now all of our stuff is fully submerged in the bottom. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. So where was I? This is a mess. I have a mess to clean up. In 2019, then I'll tell you what we do with this. 2019, I was having a lump in my throat all the time. It was making it hard for me to even swallow water sometimes. It was really hard for me to eat a lot of days. I pretty much lived on chicken broth, refried beans for months and months and months. And they kind of couldn't figure out what was going on. A lot of people thought it was stress related, blah, blah, blah. So I finally found a doctor that could work with me and figured it out. And after lots of crazy tests, I have what they think is an immune disease. They don't even know how it's fully classified because it's kind of rare. It's called achalasia. And it's the esophagus muscles are basically failing. So I had a procedure done in 2020 so that I would be able to eat food again. And so I had that done and it worked great. I have been fine for years. Stress does activate it. When I get weird stuff going on in my life, it does act up from time to time and it's fine. I know how to deal with it. I just drink peppermint tea and I get whatever. But it's been acting up all the time lately again. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad because we all have things, right? There's no medication I can take to help it. So I try to do things like this, use natural body products, anything I can do to heal my body. Because with these kind of diseases, you want to do anything you can to pump your body up and to give it its best shot, right? So that's why I do a lot of things that I do in my kitchen. I've always liked to make sure, stuff's from scratch and blah, blah, blah. But it did give me a different outlook on it. When you're not healthy, it's taxing, right? We all been there. I'm sure everybody has been there at some point. So that's why I choose to do things as natural as I can, or more holistic if I can, or more herbal-based if I can, versus running out and buying stuff from the store. There you go. Let your body heal. So anyways, our fire cider. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this water out because it's like at the brim, which is fine, but it's fully submerged. We are going to let this sit for 3 to 4 weeks. It's just going to let all these delicious flavors release into there. It is going to ferment a little bit, and that's totally fine, but it's going to mull all together and make this delicious fire cider that we're trying to make. I don't feel the need to touch it, stir it. I don't do anything. I just set it up to the side. If you have a cool, dark place, you can put it in. If you're worried about it overflowing, I'll stick a cookie sheet or something underneath it, a plate, whatever. and just kind of tuck it away. I am terrible about putting things in cool, dark places and forgetting about them. So I often just throw things on my counter, like my apple scrap vinegar. I have a little, usually if my garden's doing well, the whole counter in my kitchen, I call it fermentation station. And I have all kinds of stuff going on over there. And I love it because it's like my own little, I don't know, holistic-y area. But that's fire cider, you guys. I'm going to release this video, and then I will bring you back to show you the final step in 3 to 4 weeks. But I will tell you what you do in 3 to 4 weeks in case you don't catch round 2. All that you do in 3 to 4 weeks is take your bag out. You're going to strain off the vinegar and dump out all your ingredients that are in here. Just chuck them. All of the alcohol, why do I keep saying alcohol? All the apple cider vinegar that is in here, you're going to put into some kind of container. It has enough acid in it that it's like vinegar. It can sit out without any issues. You can refrigerate it as well if you want. On the counter, it lasts for 6 months, but you're basically just going to strain out all the junk. And then how do you use, other than marinades or, salad dressings, how do you take this? You can take it daily as a wellness shot, like I was saying. So 1 tablespoon every single day. And it's like a natural, like a daily vitamin. Basically, it's got all kinds of good stuff in it. But if you start to feel cold or flu or crummy, anything like that coming on, you take 1 to 2 tablespoons straight up. Don't dilute it or anything. You can, but I don't. 1 to 2 tablespoons every 3 to 4 hours. And it's just it's almost like nature's cough medicine. And it helps with sinus stuff, helps with coughs, all that stuff that we get this time of year. So that's kind of how you use it. Did I forget anything? Oh, I did forget something, guys. You're going to add, after you strain it, before you drink it, 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of raw honey. I like to do 1/2 cup because I like things to tend to be a little bit sweeter and more palatable. So I do 1/2 cup of it. Just stir it in and it'll just dissipate into your liquid. So that is what I do. Like I was saying, if you want to break this recipe down into a much smaller amount, you totally can. You do not need to make it in a gallon jug. It's just how we do it. I do use it as a daily wellness shot. And then, of course, if you're sick, you can go ahead and take as much as you want of it. It's pretty potent. Do not give it to children. There's honey in it. It's great for adults, though. We have young adult children, and when they were teenagers, we would give it to them too. But it's definitely knock your socks off, guys. It's got spice from all those ingredients. Ginger, horseradish, and peppers are spicy. So just be prepared. There's a reason it cleans the nostrils. Let's just say that. So that is it for step 1. I will get this posted. And then once it's ready, in 3 to 4 weeks, I will post the second part of it. By the time I post this, it may not seem like 3 to 4 weeks by the time I post the second part, because it really just depends on when I get it into my schedule. So that's it, you guys. Stop talking, lady. I mean, this was a little more serious one, but that's just is what it is sometimes over here. But we'll have more funny videos for you very, very soon. But in the meantime, go make some fire cider, get it started so that you can do this process with us. It's gonna be fun. We'll see you in a couple weeks.